Hello everyone. Today, I'll be talking about my opinion on the matter of Zhong Li getting a buff for version 1.3. It's a little bit late, but hopefully you all don't mind. So as you all know, my general stance for Zhong Li even now has been that he's actually rather good. Maybe even overpowered sometimes. And I'm having some trouble wondering why people are having so much issues with him. To me, he's an extremely strong hero with a unique playstyle, and he made floor 12 in the Abyss very safe and manageable between his constant petrifying crowd control meteors that causes explosion, shields, and most importantly, damage. Most of which you don't even need C6 for, since the man gears up for survival. Now, the thing with him is that his method for DPSing things isn't exactly cut and dry like the others. For laying down stupid pillars, he passively creates a healthy amount of damage per tick. And don't forget, the man gets Geo damage every time he ascends, so he can stack up to a huge amount of damage. Yeah, his auto attack is a little blah, but his Geo damage is no joke. And he can, with these Geo damage, sting to the tune of about 2 to 3k damage per pillar pulse for me. Now, pair that up with a Geo Traveler, which no one has any excuses not to have, and also C6, he not only multiplies the amount of damage his one pillar can do because he spreads that effect to other Geo constructs, but he can also gain an amazing amount of energy to spam more meteors. In fact, much of my build revolves around this, so my Zhong Li uses the Vivonius Lance. It's nothing special, but I actually would prefer not to get that shield lance, even though it does have very, very good synergy and practically makes him invulnerable come 1.3. It's just that, I find that critical damage is much more satisfying for him. When his meteor comes down and it does ridiculous chunks of damage, that's when you realize you've done the right thing. So, anyway, I use the Vivonius Lance so he can constantly produce even more energy on top of these tower pulses and become a highly damaging meteor machine. All he does is just crap out meteor one after another. So now, because I can charge my E and create a pillar right after meteor, not only do I have more shielding options, which honestly means more DPS because having shield means more damage, but I will do more damage from charge E and creating an additional pillar that creates more pulses, which gives me more energy and yet more damage, which leads to even more meteors. So normally after a combo I would just drop a pillar after meteor, but this gives me my meteor spam rotation and even bigger damage buff. So 1.3 is amazing. It gives me so much extra damage just because I can now squeeze in a charge E on top of it, and that's before all the HP buffs and everything. As you can see, with this constant meteor spamming I already do, the opponent is mostly bound and have a hard time doing damage to me while I continue to dish out constant stream of Geo damage. I have no real need to bolster my auto attacks, but I am of course grateful to take any damage, any extra damage I can get. But now that they decide to up Zhong Li's attack by making a scale with his HP, now I have even more excuses to do my painful fall damage pillar combo, which I use a lot on guys who can get juggled by him, like the mages, like Abyss mages once they lose their shields, human targets, etc, etc. Knock them up in the air with a pillar, have them drop down, take 12k damage, or more based on their max HP, then finish them off with a meteor. But anyway, now, the changelog does specify it's not final yet. But still, I mean, the idea of Zhong Li being able to carry 1.39% of his max HP into his auto attack is pretty nasty stuff. I'm honestly not sure if they're going to keep it, but if they do, I even already did the math and say, his HP is like 40,000. 1.39% means he'll dish out 556 extra damage per blow. That's a huge deal. Even if we were to cut that in half to 278, like DPS builds are pretending that he's a 28k HP character, which is around the norm for a DPS geared character, that is still a very sizable difference. So 1.3 is going to spoil my Zhong Li so much, it's actually kind of incredible. And 20k HP with DPS stats is probably my preferred stats anyway, since I never really run into any problems with him, even now. I'm using his DPS set right now, so I have like 20k, or maybe even less, like 18k. Still, now our good man can deal a good chunk of damage, no matter what builds he runs. His only useless stats is probably just dev now, but, I mean, now he's got HP for his auto attacks as well. It's a huge buff that I never even asked for, but we're welcome, nevertheless. You know, I don't think it's going to be necessary for him to use the, the Crescent Pike anymore. Although Crescent Pike would seriously make him into an auto machine, an auto attack machine, I really don't think that's how he's meant to be used. Since the man gets geo damage and he gets a whole ton of geo damage tricks, I honestly think that the man is much more preferable to keep building things and just spam meteors. There's really not that many room for me to use my auto attack. Not even that knockup combo. It's not really necessary because I build up energy so incredibly fast. So that's why I continue to use the Favonius Lance to gain energy. I mean, my fall damage combo I'm always itching to make. It just gives me a little more opportunity to crit someone, get more energy from Favonius Lance, because Favonius Lance, when you crit someone, you get 6 energy. And hey, the meteor that he drops is, I don't know, 40 energy. So you can just spam meteor pretty nasty. Now, I was a little afraid that the trade-off to this is that his meteor no longer is a max HP bonus as a bonus. I saw that in the list, but they later on scroll down and, oh wow, not only does he keep the meteor HP bonus, but his pillars also gain damage to pulses, resonance, and charge aura combo to the tune of 1.9% max HP. That is absolutely disgusting. The pulse already do a really good chunk of damage, and depending on my findings come 1.3, I might even shift Zhong Li to use HP for his Hourglass, Geo for his Chalice, and crit damage or crit chance, rather than the attack Geo crit damage thing that I'm using now to mix it up, give me a little more survivability. See, one of the main things I have with Zhong Li is that even though his shield I have is just about nub, there is a slight margin of error when the shield might break a little too soon, making me lose my DPS, maybe even make me die. So, having a shield is kind of nice, and I think that rather than putting my life in danger because I am so greedy with DPS, I think that constantly producing shields is a good idea. Now, right now, my build is all DPS, so I trade some invulnerability for more damage, and I have to juggle a balance between survival, damage, and even more damage. I think that using an HP percentage hourglass, just that, might give me the stability that I need in my combos, and it'll still give him more damage. Not a lot of extra damage, because I'm still going to lose some because I'm gearing into HP, but I think it'll be a decent enough chunk for me to do a good chunk of damage and still be able to dish out strong DPS. I don't think we are really in any kind of a race, and floor 12 I can clear just as easily. Not to mention I can switch characters, let Klee take care of it, not a big deal. Oh, but wait a minute, I also heard that floor 12 is now going to run Geo damage bonus. So yeah, that's another reason why I don't really like the whole Crescent Pike thing, because Geo damage is going to be a bonus for a number of things down the line. Not to mention I'm already using a Geo Chalice, so I need to just stack Geo so much. I would be like Giovanni. On the other hand, like I look at the second hand set of buffs, and I wonder all these buffs that they're doing if it's truly necessary. I mean, like I mentioned before, having these constant shields and shield damage bonus makes everything pretty much easy mode for me. Includes the current floor 12 of Abyss, despite not having a fire resonance bonus, which gives, 25% attack? So, yes, there are some margin of errors, but in general, I think it's under control. Well, now Geo shields have 150% bonus to all elements, and this change is absolutely amazing, by the way, at 1.3. And of course, they also included physical damage absorption on top of that. Like, excuse me? That's a huge buff! You know, back then, Geo only plays with Geo. So, when you have a Geo shield, oopsie daisy, you can only negate shield. I mean, it's a stronger shield, 250%, but I always thought that Geo was a stupid element because of that. Now, aside from the fact that they generally do more damage to make up for the lack of elemental reactions, just look at Ningguang. The shield part of Geo has always been largely ignored to me because it's crap to everything except, well, Geo. Now Geo has taken its place as a powerful all-rounder, and if that's not even enough, the 15% damage bonus now includes having a shield backed up with minus 20% resistance to Geo damage. That's pretty damn disgusting. Okay, sure, yeah, I mean, even if guys with poor resistance in the first place doesn't really mean much. But against bigger and tougher guys down the line, like Child for example, 20% resistance drop is a huge deal. It lasts for 15 seconds, so it's absolutely amazing. This is like the gift that keeps on giving. So I'm very pleased about this 1.3 update, and I hope that everyone complains more. I'm really glad that everyone's having trouble with Zhong Li, despite, well, the contrary for me. Because now my C6 Zhong Li is stronger than ever, and it became even more solid investment than I had hoped. As a matter of fact, I hope people keep complaining about it, because their complaining brings about one of the biggest changes to Geo and made them OP. Now, instead of picking the right element shields, now I have like 150% for all. That's amazing. That is after they've mentioned how, Zhong Li, they made this whole like paragraph a little bit ago about how Zhong Li is balanced and alright, yada yada yada, in terms of my gameplay, yeah, with that long ass speech. And for them to just take that back and make one of the greatest buffs in Geo history is absolutely out of control. 1.3, I'm looking forward to it. I hope they don't take back any of these changes that they've suggested. I mean, granted, because of this, nothing is nothing is final yet, and since these guys want a bit of a safety net to nerf these changes, we might not actually get all these changes, but I hope that they do. So if everyone keeps complaining about Zhong Li or Geo, hopefully we can even get better changes for those of us who do own Geo heroes and appreciate them. But that's about it. It's a short speech. I thank you all for watching. Until next time.